will the virtuous Sangha out of compassion for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức tặng thịnh, vì thứ pháp hội cấp nhất thiết chúng sanh, tịnh chuyên diệu pháp luân giao đạo ngã môn, như há liêu sanh thoát tự ly khổ đạt lạc, tất chứng vô sanh. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Nam mô Saranto Suchero Ye Alahari San Meo San Puto Xie. Nam mô Tathagata Toya Daya Alahade Tamyatam Bodha Toa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu shang sheng she wei miao fa, bai jian wan jie nan cao yu, wo jin jie wo de shou chi ye jie ru lai zhe shi yi. All Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Venerable Huineng, Venerable Xinhua, Venerable Left Home people, and all good no advisors, Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨、六祖、师父、上人、各位出家人、各位善知识，阿弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát kính thưa lục tổ Hòa Thượng Kiên Hóa, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện tri thức A Di Đà Phật. All right, today is the 22nd of November 2020. We are here to discuss the 6th Patriarch Sutra. We currently on chapter 8, slide number, oh no, not this one. Slide number 98, sorry about that. Okay, so the context is that we continue to discuss the sudden teaching and the gradual teaching, and is exemplified by what transpired, the lesson that Venerable Huineng taught Cháng, which is a spy from Sheng Xiu, his contemporary, Master Huineng's contemporary, his rival, and so it's if you really want to understand or try to absorb certain teaching, it's exemplified here. It's a very appropriate chapter to explain to us what is gradual teaching and what is sudden teaching. Unfortunately, my late Chinese teacher didn't really elaborate that much on this when I read his explanations. So we really are providing a really meaningful glimpse into the Mahayana Chan Buddhist teaching in the certain teaching. Okay, 98 Sutra text. Cháng asked the master further, what is meant by not establishing?
至诚再起诗曰：如何是不利益？
Okay, commentary on number 99. So Cháng asks, what is the meaning of not establishing? Okay, this not establishing, that's the jargon that's used by the Chan school. The 6th Patriarch Sutra is probably the quintessential Chan school Bible. All right, slide number 100. Sutra text, the master replied, the self-nature is free from error, obstruction, and confusion. Prajna contemplates and illuminates in every thought.
诗曰：自性无非，无碍无乱，念念波罗观照。
Okay, commentary on 101. Your self-nature is free from error, obstruction, and confusion. Here, he elaborates more and more into the certain teaching. Okay, he says your nature, okay, has no faults, has no obstructions, doesn't try to obstruct others. Okay, doesn't see any obstructions from others. Okay, people come to me and said, they're obstructing me from cultivation, they stop me from cultivation, they're not allowing me to do this and do that. Yeah. It's from your thinking mind. Your self-nature has no such view of I'm being obstructed. And there's no confusion. Okay, the self-nature knows the reason you're confused is because you're not operating from your self-nature. Prajna contemplates and illuminates in every thought. Your self-nature is prajna, constant prajna, which contemplates. It's always contemplating instead of thinking, contemplating versus thinking. You thinking. Your prajna mind, your prajna wisdom contemplates. And illuminates and brings light to the topic so that you can see clearer and others can see clearer. Okay, that's your prajna wisdom in action. 102, Sutra text. And constantly apart from the Dharma marks and are free and independent, both horizontally and vertically, then what can one establish?
常理法相，自由自在，纵横尽得，有何可立？
Okay, commentary 103. Furthermore, this prajna wisdom that you all have, that's right now in you, nowhere else, is already in you. It is this prajna wisdom that you already possess. Yes, I know, you don't believe it. You don't deserve it, I agree. Constantly apart from the Dharma marks. What is Dharma marks? What are Dharma marks? These are important concepts, minimum concepts in Buddhism you need to understand. You want to become enlightened, you have to understand this. What's Dharma marks? Break it down. What's Dharma? What is mark? What's Dharma? Dharma is the Buddhist term for everything that your mind conceives of. What conjures up in your mind is called a Dharma. So far, so good? Okay, you think about your mother is a Dharma. Right? And what is mark? Mark is anything that has an appearance that you can perceive with your six sense organs, okay, that you can describe as a form. Okay? Those are exterior things. It has flavors. It has a fragrance, okay, like your foundation. Okay, so those are marks. Those are things that our sensory organs can pick up. Those are marks. Another word those of you who are following the Avatamsaka Sutra is also called appearances. What appears to be, what appears, they're called marks. Okay? Whatever you can see, whatever you can smell, whatever you can hear, whatever you can touch, they're all marks. See? So the world we see is a world of marks. World we hear, the world of marks. Right? All those things. Okay? So this Prajna Wisdom is constantly apart from the Dharma marks. Okay, it's actually the translation is incorrect. You Chinese people, what's wrong with the translation? This is when you need to learn Chinese to really get to the bottom of this very precise teaching. And permanently apart from the Dharma marks, not constantly. Constantly is héng, permanently is cháng. Is that right, Chinese people? Okay, so make the correction. This is, if this is a paper, this is homework you submit to me, I will give you an F. There's no room for errors in chant. Either you become enlightened or you still continue to be stupid. Which is going to be? Nothing in between. Either you stupid or you enlightened. Who are you? Okay? No excuses. We don't accept any excuses. Don't say, oh, you're so nice, you're so wonderful, you're so sweet. No, you're stupid. So this Prajna Wisdom is permanently apart from Dharma marks, meaning that it doesn't attach to, right? Doesn't get involved, doesn't engage in Dharma marks. Someone comes to you and say, "You're so stupid." What happened to a person with Prajna Wisdom? See? It's not afflicted. When I call you stupid, what did you do? You're all like, I catch you every time. What can I say? So American. Okay? It's permanently, meaning that from beginning to end, it never attached to marks, of any marks. Not just Dharma. Even Dharma is not necessary. You should say, if I may criticize Venerable Huineng, I would say, cháng lý, xiang. There's no fa. Fa is extra. It's not necessary. You see, it's called familiarity breeds contempt. I've been lecturing on this. We've been studying this sutra for 4 years now. Huh? Now it's time to call it as it is. Okay? Fa, xiang is not necessary. Xiang, any xiang. Forget about fa. No need for Dharma. Just any xiang. Anything. It will not engage. Okay? And free and independent. 自由 is free. Free is that it's not like you think I can do as I please and do anything I want. Okay. So what is 自由 here? It means that you are not influenced by anything, by anyone. Just because you're poor, you don't hang your head down and say, oh, I'm so poor, I'm suffering so much, it's COVID-19 destroying my business, I'm going to have to close the temple soon. Okay? We're free. No money, no food, no problems. Okay? We change profession. Undaunted. Okay? So it's like, listen, the reason I say that because many of you, you're easily influenced. You know, especially those of you who are like bipolar. Anyone anyone out there who's bipolar? Raise your hands. Oh, so many of you. Sick people, okay? Bipolar people, they cannot experience independence because there's always a manic ghost is whispering in their ears, okay? It says, you don't have to take that. You're unhappy, you're afflicted because it's her fault. Is it clear? Does it ring a bell, you manic people? You are not independent. Okay? Questions?
Yeah, Jane has a comment.
Yes.
She said on slide 102, cháng is constant, permanent is yong. Constantly apart from the Dharma marks.
It's not yung. It's not permanently.
No.
Cháng.
Cháng is constant.
So cháng and héng is the same thing?
Permanent is yong.
Okay, how can I fight the Chinese? Okay, I stand corrected. I resent that. Thank you. Okay, if it's a Chinese authority, they're connected to Premier Xi Jinping. So, I can only afford to alienate one emperor, not two. We're moving to China. I'm glad I didn't have. I was planning on moving to Canada if something happens. Okay. So anyway, constantly, permanently switch back. Hey, you Chinese Shanghai person, switch back constantly.
I agree with Jen on this one.
Huh?
I disagree with Jen on this one.
You disagree with Jane on this one?
Permanent is cháng.
Let's look at the dictionary. Now the Chinese are fighting each other. I mean, who are we? I mean, one side is academia, the other side is Shanghai. I mean, which side are we going to choose? Can't we have both? Okay, dictionary, please. Okay, you guys look up the dictionary. Okay. Yung is always. Okay. So cháng is between yung and héng. Okay, I think. Anyway, I'm no Chinese. I'm no authority on that. Let the Chinese fight it out, and we accept whatever it is. It's their Mahayana anyway, not ours. We have our own American Mahayana soon. Yes? YouTube has a question, please. YouTube, go ahead.
So we have a question from L to D. Question is, Master, does contemplation happen when we stop thinking?
Something like that. Okay, you don't think anymore, you contemplate. Okay. Anything else? It's technical, so yes, there's a difference between contemplation and thinking, depend who you are. If you are normal, then there's a difference. When you're not normal, you're abnormal, then there's also a difference. That's why something like that is correct. Yes, he's on the right tracks though. Yes, Black.
Korea has a question. Venerable Shenan asks, does Dharma mark equals to thoughts?
Dharma mark equals to thoughts? Mm-hmm. Yes. It's also equal to what? Thought is one of the six. Objects, right? You have thoughts, you also have sound. Yes, sound is also a mark. The smell is also a mark. The touch is also a mark, right? Yes. Anything else? Why is the dictionary taking so long? Now is the era of online dictionaries and so forth. Yes.
Kenix is asking if Yong is infinity.
God, I hate it when they I'm no math. Well, I was a math major. I can't lie. See, if you lie, you better, do it right. Is it infinity? Yes. If you want to use math terminology, yes, it's infinity. Yung is from beginning to end, okay? Whatever that is, okay, that's infinity, yes. Always. Yes. Go for us.
Hello, Master. I think the cháng, I like the dictionary explanation of not changing.
What? Not changing.
Yes.
What about hững? What about dụng?
I don't know. I saw you just want the meaning of cháng.
It's not enough, Chin, because hững also is not changing.
Yeah, I think heng and cháng are pretty much the same.
No, hững is a constant. Cháng is stronger than constant. And yung is the strongest. Yung is infinity, if you will.
Yes, I agree. Yung is like forever, infinity.
Yeah. I'm forever. Yours truly. Yes, but there's a cháng. Cháng is what? Must I look up my own dictionary? What's wrong with these people? You should have a dictionary, right, online. Okay, especially older dictionaries, the old Chinese dictionary, not the new simplified dictionary. Yes, go ahead, Taiwan. We're so international.
Yeah, cháng is constant and fixed.
It's not permanent.
It's not permanent.
Okay.
It's not technically permanent. It's more constant.
Okay, we can live with that. Okay, yeah, okay. It's always constant. Don't, and there's no change. Okay, but I insist. Yes, go for it. Go something. Yes.
I see in my dictionary has a Buddhist dictionary that says it is used for always, unceasing, permanent, perpetual, eternal. So it's a specific Buddhist meaning for a Sanskrit term, nitya sasvata.
Wow, Master Xianjie to the rescue. Yeah. Hey, you Chinese people, you're wrong. No?
No.
Now the Taiwanese are jumping into the game.
No, in here it says cháng li fa xiang. Cháng is describing li. So it's describing li. It's not being used as a noun. So in the Buddhist term, it's translated to permanence because it's a noun, it's a jargon. And here it's using to describe the phrase. So it's descriptive.
One country, one system. Yeah. So all of a sudden,
I think we have
the
to
Taiwanese and the Chinese are united.
So I think we have to look at when it was being used, what was the intention of the word.
But I still like
But
my boy.
when you say wu chang, it means impermanence, which
I don't care
was
what you say. Yes, screen. Yes, back there.
상은 고정됨이 없이 화하고 나서 돌아가는 겁니다. 예, 상은 고정됨이 없이 화하고 나서서 돌아가는 겁니다.
Chang.
Here, the constantly or permanently, this means that there's no fixed matter, being more free and always.
Yeah, well, it depends. Constantly, permanently, they both have their own reasons. Depends on where you look from. Okay, when you talk about constantly, meaning that they're not always. It can be constant, but it's not always. Okay, for example, you constantly are reciting Buddha's name, but then you take a break and eat pho. You no longer recite Buddha's name when you eat, do you? I know. I said, oh wow, this is so good. What is it? Okay, right? So we constantly reciting the Buddha's name, but then things happen and we stop. That's constants. Yes? Whereas permanent is that is always there. No matter what you do, you eat, you still recite the Buddha's name. Okay? So you can say constantly, here is okay, and because he says, before you're not enlightened, after you're enlightened, then you constantly are apart from the marks. My perspective is slightly different, okay? If you explain that from the perspective, say, Master Hui Neng look at Chu Cheng and say, hey, before you are not apart from the marks. Now you are enlightened, so your practice wisdom is actually constantly, you notice it's constantly apart from the marks. That's fine. But I'm saying that even before that, even when, this is kind of difficult to explain to you. This Master Hui Neng is talking about the certain teaching. I'm talking about, anyone knows? Hey, I'm trying to impress you. Do not fall asleep, please. Wake up. Master Hui Neng is talking from the perspective of, it's very hard to pin me down, let me tell you. But just because I say you're Chinese doesn't mean I really am impressed. Master Hui Neng, if he says, from his perspective, okay, and the certain teaching says, yes, you are constantly apart from the Dharma marks after you become enlightened. And Chu Cheng says, yes, absolutely. Now I'm so free, okay? I'm so happy. But what I'm telling you is that there's a step further where it depends on what you look at. Your Buddha nature is always apart from the marks. And here we better in Master Hui Neng. Okay, better than Chinese. See that? You like? We're American. It's easy to say all the things when Master Hui Neng is not here to defend himself. Okay, so it's okay. Okay, we appreciate the input from the United China. Helping divided America. Okay. But free, go back to the concept of free. Free is that, I'm trying to tell you that freedom here is no one can influence you, including your manic ghosts, including your depression ghosts. Is that clear? No? And independent. What's independent? Now, this is I don't like the word independent. I prefer the word self-mastery. Okay, it's better describes. Independent is like American independence, French independence. It's so worldly. I'm independent. I'm financially independent. In English, in American English, there's a concept in the modern era where you're financially independent. So it has a worldly connotation, the concept of independence. I prefer to differentiate a little bit, to give you a clue. This is not to be taken from the worldly perspective of independence. It's self-mastery. which is quite different from independence. What is different with independence? And self-mastery. Independence has distinction between you and something else. Yes? In American English, yes? Independent. I'm independent from something. So there's two. Right? Self-mastery is only one. Impressed? Go back to sleep. Why do we spend time talking about this? Because you don't understand this, you don't understand cháng. Cháng give you, correct it please, a free and should have freedom and self-mastery. Changes. Have freedom and self-mastery. Yes.
Hello? Is self-mastery still, there's a self in there? There's a self in the self-mastery is still...
But this... I'm glad you're awake. How do we answer this awakened person? Should we blacklist her? Huh? He says, doesn't self-mastery have a self? Sir, G.I. Joe, does self-mastery have a self? Black.
No.
Try again.
To be self-mastered is to be no self.
One more time.
To be self-mastered is to be no self.
Okay. You are right. I give up. Okay. I can spin it that way too. I'm from the White House. I spin it any way I need to. I don't feel bad about it. Since I like you, I accept it. Let me explain to you. He's not wrong. But I will have to spin it his way. Self-mastery has no self. Absolutely not. Let me think. I got it. Ooh. It has no false self. That's what he means. No false self. It has a true self. This self-mastery, contrary to the Jiujiao people's false beliefs, the self-mastery is a mastery of the true self, the mastery that comes from the true self. But you see, the Chan people are lazy. They don't say true self-mastery. It's too long. You like? Or you prefer I talk the other way? Easily influenced. I'm not attached to Marx. Yes, Violet.
Master, does that mean that true self-mastery has no ego?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow.
That's what he's saying. He has no ego. Absolutely. What he said, what's beautiful thing about self-mastery, and again, the English people wouldn't understand, is that there's a true that's implied. You can only have self-mastery when you're truly yourself. If you say, I'm my false self, then it's not, you have no mastery. You see that? So in English, it's implied, this is a true self, for you to be your own master. Okay? If not, then you still have to report to your wife. Or girlfriend. Okay? You see that? I mean, I know, and you need to give them credit for that. The DRBA gave us very good head start on the translation. Except when it comes down to a couple of things. Okay? They fall short on. Number one, sudden teaching. Terrible. They don't understand. Okay? Number two, perfect teaching. It's even worse. Okay? But because of the head start, you have no children? In California, we have a Head Start program for handicapped children. I mean, people with children with difficulties, not handicapped. Okay? So, like you, before, you need to get a head start. Now, we need to graduate from that and move into, Mahayana world. Okay. So far so good. So please pay attention, you guys, and don't have to offend people. But I need you to understand, just between us, free, 自由 and 自在 in Chinese, they have very precise meaning. Okay. Especially the 自在 is most people don't understand self-mastery, because it's the first time I explained to you, thanks to our friend back there, there's an absence of the false self. There's no self at all. That's the only way for us to be our own mistress. No, let me take it back. Your own master. Okay? The girls aren't even impressed. I'm just kissing up. It's a French Mahayana. We kiss up to girls. Okay. Okay. 中恒尽德 both horizontally and vertically. It's a very poor translation. Okay, but because it's 中恒. 中 is, what is 中 Chinese people? 中 is horizontal. Vertical. 恒 is, thank you. Okay. 中 is vertical. So this dimension here, the height, okay? And heng is across this way. So this way and this way, okay? 尽德, okay? Should be whether, not both. 尽德 should be translated as whether horizontally or vertically. Again, this translator and the people who reviewed it clearly how can we say it politely? We keep on beating on these people. Sucks. Okay. Okay? Whether horizontally or vertically. Okay? Meaning that here's what he means. He means that your Prajna wisdom, okay, is constantly apart from the marks, whether you go this way or you go that way. Okay? That's what the Chinese means. Chinese people disagree with me. And the people who disagree with me, the Chinese people who disagree with me, clearly are not are unenlightened. Okay, then what can one establish? He says, here's what he means. This is what the Master Huineng says. Okay, you practice wisdom. If you have practiced wisdom, it's a very big if, okay? Your mind is constantly no discrimination, no black or white, no male or female, okay? No freedom or slavery. Then why do you need to set up anything that says American Mahayana? Only confused people would call it American Mahayana versus Chinese Mahayana. You see that? And someone says, so we are confused? American Mahayana? Yes, we are. If you attach to that thing called American Mahayana. No? Wait, I just shot myself in the foot. Okay, never mind. Okay. Yes, go first. This is
I want to comment on the 自由自在. I think to a Chinese person, 自 has also this connotation of, another meaning of 自 is naturally. So it's like, there's this connotation of without effort. It's like very, very light. I feel the translation, if it's just to self, it's kind of lost that meaning. It's hard to include that as part of the translation, but just thinking about that, like in the language, there's that, I think, an important connotation of that naturalness.
For practical purposes, ignore the Chinese. Sorry. We really appreciate contributions from China, but today we ignored it.
Okay, my 0.002 cents.
Oh, you still have a second point? Go ahead. Easily shot down. Yes, continue.
No, I'm done. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay. YouTube has a question.
Yep. Elta D asks, does self-mastery mean mastery over Dharma marks?
Over everything and anything. When you get there, you understand. Just have this concept of self-mastery. It's a self-mastery. When you have your true self, you're your own master. Not the president. I'm going to miss him. Okay? Okay, let me answer the Chinese. You cannot this is not Chinese. The Zu here, okay, is simply Chinese jargon, but you cannot take it from a Chinese context. The Zu here, maybe in a language it means it's very light and very easy, very natural, very Taoist, all those things. But here, in a Chan parlance, has nothing to do with the self, whether it's light, whether it's natural. It refers to, the Zu here refers to, let me tell you, because again, the Chinese lost it as well. The Zu here, in Chan language, in Chan, Zu here is the true self. Okay? Zu is the true self. The self here is free from everything. This self here, Zu Zai, Zu You it has its own freedom. Zu Zai is itself. It is there. It's just there. Okay? And it's everywhere, horizontally or vertically. It's there. The true self is there. It's there. It's free. You can try to whisper and say, oh, he's insulting you. Say, so? All right? Does it help? Go for it. The Zu here is not in the Chinese literary sense. The Zu here refers to the Zhenwo. All right? I know the Chinese man never explain it this way, but that is how I explain it. The Chinese don't dare explain it this way. They just say, 自由自在, and they culturally they assume you understand. And because of that, the Chinese culture has some Taoist influence, has some language idiosyncrasies, and to us Buddhists, the Zu here is the true self. I interpret that as the true self. If I have to teach you a Chinese class in Buddhism, in Mahayana, Zu here is the true self. In the future, we want to translate it from English back to Chinese. When you go to the true self here, it can be something. Does it help? And I hope that our Korean friends who, you know what time it is in Korea right now? On Monday morning, I see 5 people in Korea. They don't have curfew. Nice, I know. It ruins all our business. It's 5 o'clock in the morning, no, it's 6:30 right now. He's 6:30 in Monday morning, and there's 5 people over there. These people are crazy. I'd be sleeping right now. Still have another half hour before I get up, take a shower, have some breakfast, and go to work. No wonder one text you need me sleeping. Look at that. He said, don't wake me up. Is it one text or who is it? Yeah, that's him. Okay, so 纵横尽德. Okay, very good. 有和可立. So the Venerable 6th Patriarch's logic is so dead on. He says, when your Prajna Wisdom, okay, with your Prajna Wisdom, okay, it attaches to nothing. It's free from marks, okay? No marks are attached to it. You throw anything at it, it slips, it falls, nothing sticks. So far, so good. No attachment, like the pasta that's uncooked. We throw it against the wall, and it touches the wall, and then it drops down. Okay? Until you get al dente. That's when it sticks a little bit longer. Yes? Okay. So nothing sticks. Okay? And because this Prajna wisdom of yours that you have has no attachments. Why does it need to establish anything? It needs nothing. When you establish something, because you need to depend on that, right? You establish a temple because you need to use a temple for a purpose, right? Same thing. So that's why if you have this Dharma wisdom, then you would not be establishing anything. There's no need to establish anything. See? Does it make sense? Yeah, you see, it makes it easy for you to understand once we dissect it. 104, Sutra text. In a self-nature, in self-enlightenment, in certain enlightenment, in a certain cultivation, there are no degrees. Therefore, not a single Dharma is established. All Dharmas are still and extinct. How can there be stages?
自性自悟，顿悟顿修，亦无见次，所以不立一切法。诸法寂灭，有何次第？
All right. Is that clear? Do I need to explain it to you? Hinayana. Those of you who say, yes, please help us understand this. Hinayana. Master Huineng is so cruel. He says, if you have Prajna wisdom in a prize section, you have prize section. You have Prajna wisdom, okay? You have no attachments. Why would you need to establish anything? Very simple logic, right? Then he says, that Prajna wisdom of yours is from the self-nature. Okay? And this Dharma of ours, this Mahayana chant, this American chant, okay? It's a Dharma of self-enlightenment. Okay? I'm sorry, it has to be American chant nowadays because the Chinese don't get it anymore. They don't. So if we say we are Chinese Mahayana, that is false advertisement. We're not. Okay? Self-enlightenment. What is self-enlightenment? Okay? Again, you Chinese people, please pay attention. 自性,自悟. 自 is your true nature. Yes? 性 is nature. 自 is your true self, the true thing, something true. 自悟 is your true awakening. True self-enlightenment. So far, so good? Does it make sense now? I just made it up today. I do think so. You will not find it in the dictionaries. Yes, yellow.
Master, I think in order for that statement from the 6th Patriarch to be true and correct, there better be a sound of a broken teacup somewhere.
Yeah, You're right. Today you're excelling. It must be the pho. Okay, very good. Sudden enlightenment. 自悟,顿悟. Okay? In Mahayana, there's only thing, one enlightenment is called sudden enlightenment. There's nothing else. Okay? 顿修 certain cultivation. Why is he talking about certain cultivation? He himself never cultivated, right? He just chopped and collected wood in the forest to make a living, never cultivated. And then he listened to someone reciting part of the Varsha Sutra. Boom! No teacher. Okay? That is authentic Mahayana cultivation. Certain cultivation. That woman right there, before there says, today, oh, I made so much money, I can buy something nice for mommy. Okay? Children, are children here? Child slavery. Yeah. Okay, so he said, I'm so happy. I made so much money today. I received big tip, Okay. And then I stopped by and buy some nice piece of chicken for mommy. Okay, he's so excited, and he heard someone say, 应无所住而生其心, that Chinese thing, okay, Chinese phrase. I say, wow, no teacher, no temple, no Buddhism, no nothing. What is that called? Self-cultivation. Who needs Buddhism? Who needs... never mind. From the other side, they say, we are Buddhism. No, you're not. We have self-cultivation. We don't need you. Okay? It's beautiful. He says, you don't understand. You yourself, okay? Your nature, your enlightenment, your all that is nothing but certain enlightenment and certain cultivation. Okay? Okay? Whereas Hinayana people, they said, you must cultivate. Remember? Hey woman. That over there said, we cultivate. Yes? They're famous for their lines is, we cultivate. Right? What do we say? What? Cultivation. Cultivation? What's that? We don't cultivate. We eat pho. You pray to God. Then we become enlightened. Hey, Daniel, impressed? That's called certain cultivation, certain enlightenment for you. You goof off, you praise, oh Lord, save me, boom, you're enlightened. Isn't that cool? And that's Mahayana. Who says you need anything? Who says you need to cultivate? The Hinayana people are always walking around saying, we cultivate, you need to cultivate to become enlightened. Vasa Huineng says, I don't need to cultivate, I became enlightened. I'm proof that you don't need to cultivate to become enlightened. Okay? Stop it. Stop spreading the Hinayana thing. We cultivate. Our temple, we cultivate. No, we don't cultivate. We eat pho. That's our temple line. That's a new line now. Facebook page. That's fixed. That's changed. Let's change out our page name. We don't practice Mahayana. We don't cultivate. We eat pho. And we pray to God. when in a good mood. Okay? And so he's stressing here. He says, Master Huineng says, you Hinayana people, you keep on saying that you need to cultivate, and then through cultivation you improve gradually, you graduate to higher and higher and higher. It's for babies, that's when you explain it to Alung, to our younger friends here. Okay? But for the people who have Mahayana roots, no cultivation. There's no gradations. Okay? 见次, 一无见次. It says here, not degrees. Oh God, I can't stand this translation. This kills me. These people really are destroying this beautiful teaching. 见次, 见 here is gradual. Okay? 见 is gradual. 次 is order. Gradual order. It's not degrees. There is no gradual, no order. Change it, please. It should be punished. In Chinese, pull them out and chop the head off. Only Chinese people understand it because these Chinese translators, that's what they deserve. Okay? No gradual, no sequence. You see? I always pretty good back then, years ago. Any questions? This is very important. We need to understand it to penetrate these Chinese concepts. It's very important in Chan. Yes, yellow.
Master, by gradual, do they mean gradations?
Yes, gradations. And the order. Tzu, this here, Chinese character here. Jian is gradations, gradual, okay? And Tzu here is order, sequence. Okay? So the problem with the non-Mahayana people, they stuck with gradations and order. Master Huineng is so precise. The Mahayana people, they sit up here. They say, we cultivate, because we want to gradually increase our level. True Mahayana people, okay? There's no such thing. There's no gradual, there's no order, there's no increase. That's certain teaching. Before that's gradual teaching. You see that? Gradual teaching, basically, I call it Hinayana. Go back and tell your masters. Therefore, not a single Dharma is established. Okay? That's why. Case in point. In our Wei-Yang school, our Wei-Yang lineage, ours, okay, not theirs, not hers, ours. Okay. Remember the first patriarch, the first master was Master Wei-Shan, name of the temple. Okay? Wei-Shan is the Chan master who became enlightened, right? And then he taught his disciple Yang Shan. And now they combine the names. It says Wei Yang. Wei Yang. Okay? Wei is the teacher. Yang is the pupil. Okay? Wei Shan taught so many enlightened people, so many disciples. You can't even count them. Okay? How do you know? No one knows about them. They disappeared. They didn't try to go out and build a temple or have a lot of disciples, have a Weishan temple. None of that. Okay? But his chosen successor is Yang Shan. What did he do? He went out and created a school called Wei Yang. Okay? You understand why Yang Shan is a pupil of Wei Shan? Yang Shan, Wei Shan, the original teacher, he says, what's there to teach? He said, I'm not teaching anything. And Yang Shan says, wait a minute, what you taught me is incredible. We need to share it. See that? Who's higher? Do you understand? That's why Wei Shan is a master, Yang Shan is a pupil. Wei Shan trained so many people, he says, I train nobody. Right? And Yang Shan, year after year, day after day, said, oh wow, I just learned something new. Oh wow, this is fantastic. Wow, why didn't I know that before? For 40 years, every day you learn something, At the end of 40 years, Master Wei Shan said, oh my God, it's time for me to move on. I'm too old. And I will go back and see Amitabha Buddha. So he left. And Yang Shan said, wow, I learned so much. Let's create a school called Wei Yang School. He should have said, 40 years? Seems like I learned nothing. What school? But it's not as bad as no degrees, no gradual, nor sequence. Okay? Yeah. Therefore, if you don't have this mindset of gradual or gradations or sequence, okay, then why do you need to establish anything? There's nothing. All dharmas are still and extinct. Okay. How can there be stages? Questions. There's nothing to explain. You say, what do you mean? Let me explain to you. You want to know what this means? All Dharma is still and extinct. How can there be stages? Let me explain to you. Ready? Are you ready? Hey, Hinayana person. Are you ready? Are you ready for the explanation of this section? Right here. Okay, this second bullet. Are you ready? All dharmas are still and extinct. How can they be stages? That's the explanation. (107) Commentary. Chu Cheng made obeisance, attended on the master day and night without laziness. He was a native of Taihe in Chuzhou. Beautiful. This is one thing that, that Chu Cheng came there with fool himself, says, my master sent me here, but I'm not sure why I'm here. Really, seriously. I don't know why I'm here. And within a short order, Master Huineng helped him become enlightened. Okay? And so he wrote a poem. Okay, so wow, this is so cool, enlightenment. Okay? And he says, can you explain me about establishment mean? What do I do now? You see that? No establishing. The Chan school says, 不立文字. Okay, they say they don't establish words and languages. So why do we say we're not establishing? And so the Master Huineng says, what's there to establish? Look into yourself. The answer is so beautiful. Said, you asking me about establishing something for you to see, yes? For people to see, for the Koreans to see, yes? For the Vietnamese to worship, yes? Master Huineng says, let me ask you, look into your self-nature. Because now Tu Cheng is enlightened already. He has Prajna Wisdom already. So he says, look at your wisdom. Look at your Buddha nature. Is there anything to establish? And Tu Cheng said, oh wow, I don't need to go establish Wei Yang anymore. Let some other suckers do that. Maybe I go establish Catholicism. So Tu Cheng was so touched. He made obeisance to, this is very Buddhist. When you're grateful, you bow. Okay? You bow. You bow when you first meet someone, you bow. And when you say, I got it, bow. Okay? So he bowed to express his reverence. And attended on the Master day and night without laziness. And this is so Mahayana. You see, I need to explain this to you because my disciples are not Mahayana. Attending on Master. Okay, remember he's a spy. He came from the other side of the tracks. You know. Okay, and after he became enlightened, what does he do? He works in the kitchen. Hey, you get it? You came here to spy on my kitchen. Now you come and become enlightened, you continue to work in the kitchen. You don't come to the Buddha hall and listen to the Dharma lecture. Kidding, just kidding. Yeah, he's too old for that. Okay, so he made obeisance, attended. So he, what? The verb here, you heard it from the Avatamsaka Sutra lecture. Attended on Master, what is that called? What's the verb for that? What's the English verb for that? Who was there in the lecture? I saw most of your faces. I recognized. Weren't you? Didn't I see you yesterday? Or didn't I? You know. It could be last week. Attended on the Master. Attended to the Master, not attended on the Master, please. Corrected. Hey, Shanghai girl. Attended to the Master. Jesus. apparently, I'm told that this woman, this nun who is in charge of this translation, who translated this, has some sort of master's or PhD in, Sanskrit, English, or something. Attended to the master. It's called, attended to the master is called, become a verb that begins with an S. Thank you. Give her a candy. Gelato. She has no candy. Gelato, please. Okay. Serve the master day and night without laziness. Okay. This Chinese word, 知, 持, here, is translated, should be translated as serve. Please pay attention, you future translators. It's beautiful. It's serve. That serve is better than 知, 持. It's much better than 知, 持. 知, 持 here Chinese is still not good enough. What 知, 成 has in mind is to serve the master. Can you understand that? Hey, Cảnh, you understand it? Có hiểu không? Let me speak in Vietnamese. Yeah. Ông tới đó, ông giác ngộ một cái, cả đời không hiểu giác ngộ cái gì hết. Ông nói, trời ơi, hay quá, hay quá, hay quá. Phục vụ cho ông thầy mình. Tức là tôn làm thầy, bỏ ông thầy kia tôn là làm thầy. Cái đó gọi là sự, gọi là phục vụ cho ông thầy. Let me explain to you in English. This guy is a spy and revered. Remember, he's revered his master from over there, Sheng Xiu, very loyal guy. And he finally came over here and said, wow, you are my master. 6th Patriarch, you are my master. I serve you. That's the only thing that makes sense for me. The only thing that I want to do is to serve you. Not meditate, not explain sutras, not go out and build a temple, not go and make a lot of money. I serve you. Okay, and I admit to you, my translation of the Chinese character 知, 持 here as serve is a little bit liberal. But this is a mindset that 知, 成 has. It's not to 知, 持, but it's to serve the 6th Patriarch. And this to me, okay, this difference between the Chinese characters and what I use the word serve is what? Fa Hai's fault. The guy who transcribed this sutra, he doesn't understand 知, 成. That's why he used the word 知, 持. He should have said 是, 六祖. Chinese people, you agree with me? You know what I mean? 是, 事物的事, 是, 六祖. Okay? This is Fa Hai's limitation. Okay? And he was an native Thai, so we at the end of that story. Any questions or comments? It's beautiful. I mean, one day I hope you enjoy this. This is so beautiful, so touching to me. That you see how a spy became a great man, and the proof of that is not talk. Okay? And you Chinese people, pay attention, please. A lot of younger Chinese nowadays, they talk. Okay? This guy doesn't do anything. He became enlightened, and it worked. It's very Chinese. We need to imitate that. The old Chinese, not the young Chinese. Young Chinese, losers. They turn their back on your family treasure. Questions or comments? Okay. And this is what makes me feel like I wish I were Chinese. Why is it the Chinese have those things that we don't? But then, aren't we glad we're American, not Chinese? Because we still have it, and they don't. Which way you want me to spin it? Okay, shall we continue? You like it? You like this section? Huh? It's like two different worlds. The Flower Dharma Sutra and the 6th Patriarch Sutra is so distinctively different, you know? One I don't understand at all, and this guy, you can say anything you want. And it's still true. I should apply for a job with the White House. Okay, shall we continue? Okay. 108. Bhikshu Chu Che, a native of Jiangxi, had a family named Cháng, the personal name Xing, Cháng. As a youth, he was an itinerant warrior.
生字彻，江西人，本姓张，名行昌，少任侠。
少任侠, I don't understand the Chinese. Okay, that's my explanation. Acha! He breaks bricks. Okay, next. 110, Sutra text. When the school split into northern and southern, although the two leaders had lost the notion of self and other, the disciples stirred up love and hate.
自南北分化，两宗主虽亡彼我，而徒侣尽起爱憎。
Okay, let's continue on 110. Okay, now he says, okay, let's go through Master Hsien-Hua's comments, okay, and see what is. I don't remember anymore, and then we see what beautiful things he taught his disciples. According to Master Hsien-Hua, Shengxiu disciples did the agitating, denouncing the Southern Patriarch as illiterate and incompetent. And the 6th Patriarch disciples really believed in him. You can't talk that way about our teacher, they said. He has obtained wisdom without the aid of a master. Shall we continue? 112. It never occurred to the 6th Patriarch disciples that they should kill Shengxiu. But Shengxiu disciples were jealous and wanted to kill the 6th Patriarch. They knew that the rope and ball were in the south. The rumors flew that Huineng would do anything, homicide, manslaughter. Why on the old days he was a confident man, not a confidence man, and now he's pretending to be a patriarch. How absurd. 113. Others said he used to be a poor firewood gatherer in the mountains. What talent could he have? The people in the south had made him their leader, but it's only talk. They did everything they could to ruin him. At Huangmei, everyone knew he was a barbarian. He doesn't know anything at all. 114, Sheng Xiu had several thousand men behind him, even though he did not have the rope and bow. They each wanted to be the 7th Patriarch, and without a father, how can there be a son? With Sheng Xiu as the 6th Patriarch, the 7th Patriarch will surely be one of them. But they didn't dare make the news public because it was all too obvious that the position rightly belonged to Huineng. Tang Dynasty Buddhism was extremely complex. 115. As a boy, Xing, Cháng robbed from the rich and gave to the poor, always fighting for the underdog. His martial arts skills were outstanding, light and limber. He could leap 20 feet in the air in a single bound. They called him Flying Cat Cháng because he ran so fast and with such agility that he could break into your house without a sound, just like a cat. 116. Not only could this cat walk silently, he could fly, but you won't find this nickname in any of the history books. You would have to have been there. How does he know? He wasn't there. Okay. Any questions? Let's see if they add more. Okay. So, I'd like to make a comment quickly, if you don't mind. Back to slide 110. It says the school split into the northern and southern. Although the two leaders had lost the notion of self and others, the disciples still taught love and hate. I beg to differ. Okay, when this is a conjecture. This is not a fact. When Fa Hai, the monk disciple of Master Huineng, who transcribed this and put it into a document, he was too liberal. He should not have added things. Okay, he should speak the truth. Buddhism is a Dharma of the truth. Don't embellish it. Don't try to minimize the ugly side. Okay, and aggrandize the beautiful side. Okay, is it aggrandize? Grandize, thank you. Aggrandize is French. So grandize the good and maximize the good and minimize the bad. You don't have to be that. Mahayana has good and has bad as well. In the good, there's bad. In the bad, there's good. That's Mahayana. So we don't need to embellish. We don't need to worry about appearances. Okay, that's worldly. Whatever people say, whatever people think. Who cares? You supposedly have self-mastery. Okay? So, it's not true. Clearly, you understand the history of this, the Chan school here. There's northern, southern Chan school in China. Now, southern is Master Huineng. Northern is Sheng Xiu. Okay? Back there in the Cháng dynasty. And southern is where they teach enlightenment. Northern, no enlightenment. They teach gradual. Mahayana and Hinayana. Hinayana is boring. Mahayana is fun. It's exciting. It's the White House. There's so much going on. That's Mahayana. Chaos is Mahayana. Hinayana, order, sequence, gradual. Mahayana, we're all over. We lie, we cry, we laugh, we become enlightened. Okay? So, Northern is very Hinayana. And for Fa, the transcriber monk, to say the two leaders have lost the notion of self and others, he's not speaking the truth. I beg to differ. Sheng Xiu certainly had not lost the notion of itself. Sheng Xiu sent his disciple to spy for him. Remember? He sent cháng to go to 6th Patriarch, the Southern School, to spy for him and report back to him. If he has no self, send the spies and don't come back. There's no one to come back to. Who is Fa to tell that Sheng Xiu has lost a notion of self and others? He says, there's a 6th Patriarch there, there's me. I want you to go spy on him and report back to me. He contradicted himself. Fa. Okay? I will give Fa B-. The disciples stirred up love and hate. Yeah, that's what disciples do. It's called life. Jealousy. Depression. Insecurity. Shall I go on? Do we have time? Yeah, 50 minutes. Crazy. Stupid. Stupid. I can go on forever. Okay? 117. Questions and comments. Sutra text. The disciples of Northern School secretly set up Sheng Xiu as a 6th Patriarch. Fearing that the country would hear of the transmission of the robe, they hired cháng to assassinate the master.
使北宗门人自立秀师为第6祖，而继祖师传衣为天下闻，乃主cháng来赐师。
Okay, 118. So they tried to burn Master Huineng in the Nanhua temple. It didn't work. So now the next plot they have was to assassinate him by hiring cháng. Cháng has some sort of kung fu, okay? Probably from Shaolin. Probably has a Shaolin Buddhist monk as a master. Okay. Okay, next. Sutra text. But the master had the power of knowing the thoughts of others. He knew of this matter in advance and set 10 ounces of gold on his chair.
师心通，欲知其事，即至金10两于座间。
120. Commentary. The master had the power of knowing the thoughts of others, and he knew in advance and set 10 ounces of gold on his chair. In Buddhism, there's 6 kinds of spiritual penetration, spiritual powers. Okay, we don't talk about this in the past because it's too Buddhist. Now we should be a little bit more Buddhist than normal. Okay, otherwise you tell yourself, "Gee, I wasted all these years at Lu Mountain Temple and learned nothing." So you have these 6 spiritual penetrations that these special skills, the special abilities that will naturally develop. Okay, as you cultivate. The first one is spiritual foot, sheng tong. Okay, ru yi tong and sheng zu tong, meaning that this is refers to whatever you want to do with your body. Okay, go through walls. You, for example, sit here and say, let's go bow to Master YongHua in the parlor. Okay, and what I typically do is go through the door there. Push the door, pull the door, and walk through the door. Okay, if you have Sheng Zu Tung, the spiritual foot, you just walk through that wall right there. Isn't that cool? And you get a lot of donations. I wish no more COVID-19 worries. And all you have to do is take a video of some of you walking through that wall and say, he's a master, his master is Master YongHua, the Wei Mountain Temple. I don't have to do it. You guys do it. Okay? So it's kind of cool. Okay. Heavenly eye. You can see to the heavens and see down to the hells. You see what the gods are doing. How many, hey Daniel, how many wives your God have? You can see with that. Is it 1 or 10,000? Wrong. Open your eyes, you see. Okay? Can't hide. Not one. More than one. You see. So open your eyes. I'm challenging you. Okay? Open your eyes and look. Wow. 1, 2. Okay, I need a Taiwanese counter. It's heavenly eye, okay? Heavenly ear, you can hear. Heavenly music. By the way, this is what Alter D needs to have. If he wants to be a famous composer, all he has to do is open the heavenly ear, and he can listen to heavenly music and transcribe it. Will be masterpieces. Case in point, all the great composers, by the way, many great composers, you ask them, where your inspiration comes from? Okay? What Beethoven, what did he say? You remember? He's German. He says, I just hear the music. I write it down. Hear the music. He's deaf, but I hear the music. You see, he's deaf. When he was alive, he has to chop the legs of his piano, okay, so that's on the ground, so that the sound of this piano when he hits the piano, plays the piano, bounces off the floor more, so he could see more the vibrations from the floor. That's how bad it was. He's deaf. And when he composed, what did he do? He heard music. Oh, for Elise. I will call it, Elise, for Elise. You see that? That's from the heavenly ear. Okay? and backtracking, heavenly eye. Not only do we want to see God, but like Michelangelo, when he carved that statue of David, remember, in the Renaissance era, 13th century. You remember your history lessons or not? I took it 50 years ago, before you were born. I still remember. Michelangelo says, I want to create the most terrific statue that never been done before. So he took out this huge block of marble. You hear me? Humongous. Almost as big as our 1,000 hands and eyes, one yin, that's still yet to be carved. I'm depressed thinking about that. And so he's this huge block of marble. He says, I want to create David. And so he started carving. And they asked later, he created this beautiful statue of David. You have seen that? Have you seen that statue? Anyone? Where is it at? Somewhere on the East Coast, I think. No? Well, anyway. People later asked him, how did you come up with this creation, this heavenly creation? He says, I look at the block, you know what happened? I saw the image of David there, so I started going like this. It's right there, his eyes. It's no imagination, you just follow. It's like tracing it. Heavenly eye. Isn't it cool? So if you want if you want to be a famous music person, meditate more. Number 4, knowledge of the thoughts. That's what the 6th Patriarch has. That's in Dong. Okay. Number 5, knowledge of past lives. Okay, meaning they look at you, and that's what happened to Master YongHua and me. And how I got is the only possible explanation, unless he's crazy. When I met him for the second time, only met him a few times. Oh my God, I'm so depressed now. Okay, I don't feel like talking anymore. Oh, excuse me, 3 more minutes. When I met him second time, he's sitting about from here to that on the sofa at ITI in Millbrae building. You see that bag right there on the bench? That's how he was. Okay, big hall, big room right there, huge room, as big as this. A little bit bigger. I feel bad for myself. It's a big building. So he sat there, and so many people, so many Chinese, really practically Chinese, Asians, no Americans, talking, and Heng Yin was translating for him. He's talking to someone, Heng Yin was translating for him, so clearly not Chinese. Okay, and he looked at him, and my father was right there. So my father, see, that's truthful. Let's bow to him. Okay, so we both turned to him and bowed. Okay, both bowed to him. Okay, and as I was going down, I was watching him for 1 minute, 30 seconds, and see how kind his countenance is. You look at his person kindly, not animated at all. Real samadhi. And his smile, had this gentle smile on his face, nodded gently. Look at him, look at that woman, talk to Heng Yin, you know, to do that. Heng Yin translated for me. And you see how kind-hearted this man was. And so that's how I remember it. And so my late father said, "That's Shifu, that's bow." So he taught me that when you meet a sagely person, you bow. That's the first thing you do. Don't come in there and say, "Can I make you money? Here, red envelope." No, you bow first. Okay? So as I bowed down, as I was bowing down, he was looking at that woman right there. He turned and looked at me. Look, both of us. Remember, the room was full of people. "Hey, Alung, stop distracting my girl." Okay. So as I was going down, he started turning. Instead of looking at that woman, okay, he started looking at me. At the first time, he looked at me one-on-one, okay? Now I was bowing down. You see, when you bow, you go like this, right? So I see him switching and turning towards me. I was going down. I couldn't see him anymore. Okay? Shall I continue? 229, sorry. So sorry. Next week, promise. I was going down. I couldn't believe it. I'm telling you, I'm not a spiritual person. I wasn't. I am not. Look at me. Do I look like a spiritual person? Hell no. Okay? I just want to have fun. Okay? So I'm not spiritual at all. I wasn't. I am not. Okay? Have always been that way. I bow down, and I was bowing down, and it's funny because for some reason, for the first time in my life, I swear to God, Daniel, God be my witness. I knew that he was scanning me. It's like he reached into my brains and pulled out all my past history. I felt so violated. That's Tachintung. He knew everything. And I got up, and he looked at me again, and sort of, interesting. It's sort of like, oh. And then he turned over to that woman again. That's all. So I'm telling you, instead of, if you have this Tachintung, this knowledge of others' thoughts, of past lives, okay? You do not need to read a book. It's boom! All done, all my past lives, he knew. How about that? Hey, Daniel, impressive? I always fail with this guy. Okay, finally, we need to close it. Finally, the last spiritual penetration, spiritual power, and believe me, most people who claim they cultivate, they want this. We don't cultivate, we don't give a damn about all these things, do we? Okay? But people who cultivate, they want all these 6 spiritual penetrations. Okay? They're real. For us, what spiritual penetrations? Exhaustion outflows, meaning they're no longer afflicted. You praise them? You insult them? Not afflicted at all, unlike us. Okay? This last one, the first 5, most people can have it. your first dhyana, very low level, all 5. You can develop them. Of course, as your samadhi power increases gradually, then the power becomes stronger, if you will. A different weight class. Whereas exhaustion outflows here, only arhats and above can have it. Is it clear? So the non-Buddhists, they impress you, especially Catholics, they impress you with the first 5. The Buddhists, they impress us with the 6th. The real Buddhists, they say, what affliction? What love? Okay? Questions, comments? Okay. Yes, sir.
Can the first 5 appear as states just briefly at random?
Absolutely. Congratulations. You Hinayana. Okay? Yeah, of course. You can see the heaven. Boom. I say, oh, look at that. God has. And because that, oh my God, Master is right. That thought is, my God, it's not one. Master is right. And you lose it immediately. You can't see anymore. So that's why, honestly, what's the point having and then losing it? Let's have fun. Okay, everyone, thank you. We stop here today, 121 next time. Look at that. The Koreans, none of them fell asleep. Impressive. 5:30 to 7:30. Now it's time for breakfast. Yes? They're probably hungry. Okay. Okay, bye-bye. Okay.